Hi, I'm going to show you an easy, quick method that I like to use for composting at home. It's not too hard and it doesn't need a lot of resources. You don't need any special equipment. All you really need is something to collect your compost in, which is something I like to use here is these little lettuce containers that I get from the store when I buy my lettuce, my organic lettuce. And basically you can use these to hold your compost from your kitchen as you start collecting it. This is about a day's worth for me. These you could use any kind of thing, a bucket with a lid. Basically you just want something to cover your scraps until you collect enough. Keep flies and other things out of it. And anything is usable at this point. Any organic matter that you basically get from your kitchen, anything that's not plastic. You see there's banana peels, avocado, apple, even here. Tea bags work okay, meat, eggshells, any of that kind of stuff works good for my system. Even meat, I use meat and eggshells and things like that in there too. Some people don't like that, but as long as you bury it well with like leaves and carbon, then you're fine. The other thing you need is these big black containers. Now you can get these sometimes for free or cheap, and they're basically what you get when you buy a big tree from a nursery. So sometimes nurseries will have them in hand and sell them or give them away, or you can look on Craigslist or OfferUp or something and find them. But basically what I use these for is for putting the compost in, for building the layers. I use leaves here for composting, leaves from this oak tree fallen down, and there's also some wood chips I put down. You can use wood chips as well. We can pick up many different types of leaves, also strands of old grass, wheat grasses, old sorrel. We can use, I have sugar cane. I use blades of the sugar cane as they dry out. These, I like to put a little carbon on the bottom, so if you want carbon to nitrogen ratio, the food scraps are going to be the nitrogen. And the leaves and wood chips, you can use wood chips too. It just will take a little longer to break down and you'll have to filter them out later. Will work just fine. I'll put a little bit of this carbon in on the bottom. And then I take my food scraps, which could be anything, banana peels, fruit rinds, eggshells, meat even, and then I put that down, and then I put the leaves of the carbon on top. I also like the little pieces of cardboard or paper will work too, because that'll actually help feed the beneficial things that are going to break down. And basically, you have a really easy compost system, and you can see right here, when you start having a lot of scraps, you can break them down and add more leaves too. This is a system that I'm using right now, and it's half full. As it goes down, you can see as I start working, it starts getting lower and lower. And if you look in there, you can see the layers of food scraps and carbon. Another thing I like to add every once in a while is I'll rip up pieces of cardboard and put it in there, and that becomes food. The main things that are breaking down the compost are, for me, is the soldier flies and the red wiggler worms. So if you go into these newer composts, so this is a system, you can see all these soldier flies, and they're not really flies that people hate. They're flies that actually are very beneficial to the ecosystem. Actually, people in a lot of countries eat these larvae. They're not that gross. They're good for chicken food. Actually, when they become flies, you can see there's one little black one there. They have no mouth, so they don't actually come for you. They don't bother humans. They don't like to be around humans once they're developed. They basically just grow, fly, find food to eat, lay their eggs, and then they die. And so that's their lifespan. So they're not really that bugging. They don't like look for our food or try to bug us like these other flies that people don't like. And they actually eat a lot of the organic matter. And as long as we keep the food scraps covered with these leaves, every time you put a layer in there, cover it completely like that, you won't have the other flies all around, or fruit flies. We also have slugs that come in here, which eat up the compost. So all the different things come in. And these are different stages of compost that I've been working on. So this one is about maybe a month and a half old. And this was at one time full to the top. You can see at first it gets really wet looking, and the soldier flies love that. They will come in naturally and start eating your stuff usually, if you have a good system for them. This one is about maybe 2 months old. So you can see it's getting broken down a little bit more. The soldier flies are coming in, and they've eaten most everything, but this one has a lot more worms in it. The worms, you can see the little worms here, the red wigglers and stuff, they come actually later after the compost is broken down more, and they make it into a more fine compost. This one is about I'd say 6 to 7 months old, and as you can see, after a while, it just all breaks up into this really nice, beautiful compost that you can use. Now this one I've used a lot of wood chips, and you can see most of the wood chips broke down, but there's still pieces of them, which is fine if you're just going to use the top dressing on your plants. Basically, if you're going to use just a small, maybe inch layer underneath some mulch on top of your soil, and basically that's fine, and that'll actually enrich your soil. But if you wanted to use this for like a potting mix, you would just need a fine filter, some kind of a grate that you can put this through that will actually filter out all the wood chips and other organic matter. Like you have these avocado peelings. These things take a little while to break down a little more, but as you can see, they're already really easy to crumble up, and you can either filter all that out and put it in your next layer of compost as a carbon material and let that break down more, or you can just use it as mulch in your garden. There will also be like little pieces of plastic if you didn't pull off the labels like I did. But usually that stuff floats to the top, so it's not too big of a problem. So I usually come through, and if I'm filtering it out too, I'll be able to pick those out really easy. The best method that I found to compost. So I hope that helps you, and I hope you learned something from this, and have a great day.